Hi. Welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays. I'm Lisa Sarami, and this is
Nicole Farrow.
And we're so excited, as always, to be here in this space with you, diving deep into basically our unconscious waking dream. And today we're going to be specifically speaking about how we're always creating, whether it's unconscious or it's conscious. We're always doing it. And our kind of like our lives are really a result of this that's always happening.
I just want to say I'm super excited about this topic, and we have a lot of great things to share. So I think what we're going to start out with is how we unconsciously create our reality, because I don't think we're really aware of that. I know I'm not until I'm actually in a situation, and then I'm like, oh, I've unconsciously created that or called that situation in or called that person in, and now it's super present to me. Now I'm aware of it because it's been brought to the conscious mind. But we can start to understand what's happening in the unconscious before it gets to that level, or we can have more awareness when these situations and people come into our lives as to understand what the lesson is, or what area of our life we're needing to grow in.
So here's a way to look at it. Think about maybe a place in your life where you feel so ready for an up level, maybe, or something different, and yet you feel stuck. No matter what you're doing, you're still kind of getting the same results. You're frustrated maybe about it. You don't understand why. So we can talk about some different examples of that if nothing's coming to mind for you right off the bat.
Right.
Do you want to dive into what you're...
Yeah. So one example would be relationships. Okay, so maybe consciously you're like, I'm ready for a specific relationship. Hey, Lex. And you have these desires and these ideas and these visions of how the relationship, how you want the relationship to look and to feel, right? Except so perhaps maybe you want really deep intimacy in your relationship, and so you think that you're ready for that deep intimacy, but somewhere deep inside of you, whether it's emotional intimacy, sexual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, whatever it is, thanks, Lexi, you actually haven't brought that part of your being up into the vibration to call in that match. And so what you're doing is unconsciously calling in the match that you're still stuck in yourself. Okay, so who did it? Who's the one that spoke in numbers about it?
So there's a woman by the name of Dr. Carol Clark,
right?
And she speaks about how, like, from an intimacy standpoint, if you were to be honest with yourself and say 10 is the most fully available you are for intimacy, and 1 being like you're so void, you're so vacant, you're so checked out, that you're gonna call in. If you're like a 5, most likely you're gonna call in a 5. You might call in somebody that's a little bit on higher end of the scale or a little bit below you, depending on where you're at in your process of life, right? Because sometimes we shut down and then we become more unavailable, and then we start to attract people that are unavailable, and then we maybe start to become more available. Maybe it starts to feel safer and you're ready for more. And then all of a sudden that person can't handle it and they check out, you know, and so anyway, she talks a lot about, like, why does that happen? And so in relationships, you know, it's very common that I hear, and maybe I've even said this, who knows, that I'm so tired of drawing in the same type. Why are they unavailable, or why are they like this or like that?
We all say that. I can't tell you how many times I've said that. How come I'm calling in the same type of energy, the same kind of person, even though they're completely 2 different human beings, whether it's friendships or, you know, intimate loving relationships? And it's because ultimately they are our mirror. They are a reflection of where we need to grow and want to grow and desire to grow. And it's, you know, higher power or source or spirit calling you higher, asking you, okay, if you really want this, then what area are you staying stuck that you're not able to call in that vibrational match? And so that's unconsciously creating your reality, creating the world that you live in, because ultimately our minds create the world.
So another example could be maybe your career. So whether you're a business person, an entrepreneur, and you run your own show, or you work for somebody else, a lot of times we hear people say things like, I really want to make more money, or I really want different types of clients, or I wish my business looked this way, or I wish I had this other position, or I wish I was in a different career. Whatever it is, it's that whole like, I'm really ready to just be somewhere where I'm not, and for whatever reason, I can't seem to get what I want. I can't seem to get unstuck. And again, a lot of that is being driven by unconscious things that we might be doing that are keeping us in this place that actually feels really comfortable at some unconscious level. But
Totally. It's a familiar thing. It's
familiar.
This energy feels familiar to me. I know this energy, so I'm going to gravitate towards it because it's comfort. It's in my comfort zone. And so in order to attract something that you want that's outside of your comfort zone and perhaps outside of what you feel is familiar, it's a willingness to be uncomfortable and to set the bar higher within yourself, and obviously to be aware of what parts of the self are still stuck in a certain vibration and not able to come forward with you, because it's not just one, as you know. There's not just one of you in there. Everyone needs to be on board with the vibration that you're trying to ascend to.
And then I want to give another example too in the realm of health, like we were talking about that. I know that I've heard a lot of people, like with people that I work with, friends, talk. A lot of us know what we need to do. A lot of us know, like right now, maybe we're feeling a lot of stress, and we know that like there's certain things we could do to cope that would help manage our stress, that would make us actually ultimately feel better, feel a little more connected to ourselves, connected to the things that we want in our lives. And yet we get in the way, and we just we can't seem to make that thing happen. So that's just another example of where maybe there's something unconscious at play that's preventing us from actually being in the actions that we're clear that would really be useful, serving us.
Well, I think that would bring us into then an unconscious addiction, right?
Yes.
So if you're thinking like, okay, I really want to call in a relationship, I really want to call in a career, I really want to attract the clients that I feel that I deserve, or
how about I just really want to feel good?
I just want to feel good, whatever it is.
I just want to feel good in my body,
Right, but if there's an unconscious addiction there, such as a substance or busyness or a love addiction or a state of being, a way of being addiction. Maybe people unconsciously are addicted to feeling a certain way, such as sad, depressed, angry, and that's an unconscious. We don't feel like consciously. We're like, I don't want to feel that way. I desire something different. But unconsciously, it's so familiar, so you continue to do behaviors and patterns that keep you in that one state of being.
In fact, sometimes it might not even make sense, because some of those states actually don't feel good. But we can become addicted to those states because, as she was saying, they're just really, really familiar states. So why would we even go there? It's because we're not comfortable. It's because we're feeling disconnected, and it hurts. It's painful. There's a lot of pain out there right now. A lot of people are feeling disconnected. A lot of people, well, just because then that'll be the whole 20 minutes. So it's kind of like, it's just so important for us to really take care of ourselves. And then really, if we're not taking care of ourselves, get to the core of like, what is that that's stopping it? Because it's happening maybe on an unconscious level.
Yeah. Negative cognitions happening in the unconscious.
Negative cognitions happening in your unconscious. Little mantras that are back there. The inner critic is usually shooting them into your ear like, I'm not good enough, I can't, I'm not worth it. Come on, Nicole, you know a few. Spit them out there.
Oh, they're all there. You've named them all.
Just some version, right, of we're not good enough.
Yeah, it stems from the main one, I'm not good enough. And so which ways are you not good enough? I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not motivated enough, I'm not driven enough, I'm not whatever story that you created unconsciously that has been planted now into your conscious mind. So those are ways that we unconsciously create our reality, and so perhaps that gave you a little bit of an awareness of where in your life you're unconsciously creating different realities in your life. So now let's talk about how we can consciously create our worlds and our realities.
So I was just doing a presentation on sleep, and the way consciousness even works with our sleep. So have you ever had like an appointment or something the next morning early? Well, you wake up early, so I'm talking to you late sleepers like me. And late for me is like 7 or 8.
I mean, I've been getting up around those times too, but yeah, I get it.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, you actually get up before the alarm. Like,
Yeah.
I actually had that experience this morning.
Oh my gosh, I can't even get a good night's sleep if I don't have to get up super early.
So somewhere in your consciousness, there is like this trigger that might wake you up, because consciously, you know, you got to get up. And so it kind of puts you into that action. Another example.
That's a good example. Yeah.
It just happened. So
Yeah.
I could consciously bring it in.
I love it. Okay.
So yeah, other examples of where, what about in our yoga practices, how we bring in intention?
Yeah, one of the, for instance, when I was teaching this morning, you know, to bring in an intention into yoga practice is to integrate that into your day. So the intention that I had my class do this morning was, what is the medicine that you want to receive from your yoga practice? And so when you can tune into, okay, because sometimes we just go to our yoga mat and we don't know what we need, and that's fine too. You can just go and let the yoga take over. But sometimes you really want to be intentional about it. And so if you have a specific intention, you can actually use the energy of the practice to get that out of the practice. So consciously intending for things to happen in your life is a way to do that. So creating conscious intentions, not just goals, but an intention is like, it's all encompassing. It's like, these are the things that I desire, and this is how I want to feel when I can create and manifest this thing that I want in my life.
And so we were talking about the yoga mat, but like, how about our day? How about we wake up and we consciously just bring a little intention, and then we can give our attention to the intention, because honestly, really, one of the only few things that we can control is what we give our attention to.
Yeah.
Right? So,
well, how many times do you set an intention and then just like forget about it? I mean, I do that all the time. I'll set an intention and be like, I'm going to be really firm about this intention, and then I just forget it because it's not in my awareness and I'm not putting attention onto the intention.
And it kind of just like, what I wanted to say about that is like, basically we are creating all the time, and we're either doing it consciously or we're doing it unconsciously, but we're doing it, right? So when we can just start to be better at bringing in that consciousness, what's been really powerful for me, and I'm going to be honest, it's taken years. It's taken years of, I think one of the most powerful ways that I've seen it, and we're going to go over some ways that you can actually integrate that into your life right away, but was, you know, collaging and vision boards. Maybe we've all heard of them. I've literally unconsciously found images of, like, I remember like in 2015, there's so many, but I'm going to stick to this one. There was an image of this girl in the ocean, and she had her hands like up like this, and the water was like falling off of her hands, and the water was actually almost like this yellow tone.
Weird.
And I had put it on my vision board. So within like, I think it was a year and a half, I'm in Brazil, and someone takes a picture of me at this waterfall, and my hands are like this. It's literally the picture. I come back from Brazil. I don't even put it together.
Look at Lexi, my
6 months later, it clicked, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the exact image I put on my vision board. And I've had that happen over and over again. Anyone else out there? And Kristen, I see you're on here. I want to name that Kristen and I and a few other ladies back in 2015 did a vision boarding at my house, and I had created this beautiful vision board on this wood, and I was all proud of it, and we'd gotten these little butterflies, and they were like 3D almost, and we had put them on our boards. So in 2019, when I finally registered, I don't know, maybe it was 18, I can't remember, one of those years, 18 or 19, I registered, it was actually 17, just kidding, for school.
Your
And
master's?
I began to follow my master's,
Yeah.
and I began to follow the butterfly. My feet, I still follow the butterfly. It led me to hospice. It's a very big part of my thesis and the work I'm even doing right now. I'm still following the butterfly as I work in a love and sex addiction track called Chrysalis Way, and I knew that it was fate.
Oh yeah, the butterfly is all in your life.
The butterfly is
that's
like
what you are. That
my
is-
guide.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
but the power of bringing the consciousness, and then what I want to speak about in reference to collaging, I want to also bring in ritual, and the reason why it feels so fresh and I just got so excited and dominant in the conversation about it is because I was just talking about ritual in the aspect of dream. Do you remember that fourth step of dream work?
Yeah, totally. Well, and for anything to come into reality, you have to physically do some sort of ritual to create that so that it can be planted into the unconscious mind. Like, intentions and all that are great, but there has to be some sort of physical ritual that you do that encompasses the intention, the outcome of the intention that you want.
Absolutely. So think about ritual as a way to do exactly what Nicole said and to begin a dialogue between the unconscious and the conscious. So in the dream work, we were just reading a book called Inner Work, and it was talking about ritual in, the context of dream. And dream is a way that we can work with the symbolism of the images in our unconscious.
Yeah.
So what the ritual does is it begins to open up that dialogue. So the unconscious gives you a message from your dream, and then you go ahead and you create something in physical reality as a ritual to honor the dream, to honor that message, however it is. It could be lighting a candle, it could be going for a walk and honoring the dream, it could be so many different things. But what that does is it kind of takes the ball and throws it into your conscious, and then the conscious then is actually speaking to the unconscious at the same time, and then that dialogue continues, and the ritual really helps bring it into our 3D reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about language? Like, in all things that you're doing, in all ways that you're communicating, because words cast spells, right? And so even just speaking to your friends or to your colleagues, whatever it is, like, watch the words that you're saying, watch the language that's coming out of your mouth, because you're planting the words that are coming out of your mouth are literally going into the universe, into the unconscious, and planting seeds. So this is a really hard one for most of us, because we can get wrapped up in a spiral of negative self-doubt and self-sabotage and self-talk, and it's not a process that's going to happen overnight, but it's something to really bring into our awareness, is the way that we are talking about ourselves and our lives and the things that we want to create and manifest and call into our life. So your language, the words that you use, like, I know Lisa and I are working on this right now with some things in our life together, and we're holding each other accountable. So perhaps you find someone that can hold you accountable for the language that you're using in your life.
Absolutely. And I wanted to say something about that and I lost it. Just
Happens.
Yeah, it happens. So it can be small. So how do you apply it right away? Is maybe you notice there's a word that you use or a way that you speak about things. Speaking more about the things, for example, that you don't want. That's an unconscious move, by the way, where you're casting spells with your words, rather than the things that you do want. Because in either case, you're giving your energy to that thing, and you're giving life to that thing for it to manifest in your reality.
Yeah. What was the last thing we had for? I think that was it. Oh,
Was
no,
it collaging?
visualization, like meditation. I used to do this a lot. I need to get back into it, but literally, a good meditation to do to consciously create is to think in your mind of just a plain canvas board that you would paint on, and then in your mind just painting all of the things that you want out of a situation or that you want to call into your life. That's a really powerful way to consciously create your reality. And then that
Also, to feel like, I want to add to that, when you're doing that visualization, and she is like the best at this if you've ever like done any of her meditations, but
Thank you.
integrate in all of your senses.
Mhm.
So allow yourself, what would it feel like? Like right now I am hot. So if the sun's
Yeah, we
going to
got
be
the
in
sun.
my,
The lighting's
it's like
good.
melting me.
Something
I'm
is
like an
off
ice
here.
cube.
We're trying to move away from the
Nicole.
sun, closer to the camera.
So yeah, so what would it feel like? What would it taste like?
What would it look like,
What
smell
would it
like,
look
hear like,
yes,
feel like,
all
all
the
of
things,
it. Yeah.
all of it. And so that you can really feel, because I think that's something we always come back to too. It's like you really want to feel and embody the feeling in the now of what it maybe would be like, because usually what we're doing is we're projecting a past that says we're not going to really have that thing. That's just the default kind of way.
Yeah.
And then we're already feeling the disappointment, right? So there's no space for it to actually come in. And then
Just to finish it up here,
Yeah.
because we're at 20, a little over. Gratitude practices, just really grounding in what you're grateful for that you have right now, and then being grateful for the possibilities that haven't even come into your life yet, I think is a really great practice.
Yeah.
And then sharing constantly. This is kind of what it kind of goes hand in hand with language, but constantly sharing with the people in your life what it is that you're trying to create, because we need to keep speaking it, and we need to not be afraid of speaking it. I know sometimes for me, there's a fear behind sharing it all the time of what I want to create in my life. I don't really even know where that comes from, and
I do.
she
Well, no, for all of us.
Yeah.
It's because then we're responsible.
Right,
And we're
yeah, that's true.
accountable. We're creating accountability.
Totally.
And the nail and to nail this. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Nail this live?
Yeah.
Because we exist in the listening of others.
Yeah.
We exist in the listening of others. The biggest gift we can give someone is our listening. Right? So when
good.
we're speaking, we're actually creating our existence in the listening of another. And whether we believe it or not, now there's a space for us to step up because they probably believe it.
And perhaps others won't. Think our goals are realistic. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Well, that's our live
Yes,
for
that
today.
one's good, Kristen.
Wake Up Wednesdays. We're so happy to have you on here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You can watch the replay on Lisa's Instagram and also our YouTube channels. And stay tuned. We'll be on my Instagram in just 2 weeks. And we're so grateful for all of your support and all of your love and all of your feedback. And we hope to see you soon.
One last thing, because people have been asking me, like, I want to share this and maybe to someone that's not on Instagram or something. So if you want to get the link for YouTube or whatever, if you just put send me a message or send Nicole a message with your email address, because we also email them out and we get those out, and then you can share with anyone that you want to.
Thank you guys. Have an amazing day. We'll see you all very soon.
Peace.